heads up for what I'm looking for. 1 is going to be our traditional shot. 3 is going to be pitcher set. So, like, he comes here, he gets a sign from his catcher. I want that 3. And 2 is going to be our center field camera, right?
I was going to say, I'll mess around with it before the game starts just to see what my angles are.
Come on now, don't F with me here. I think it's just glitching for now. I hope it is. Let's go. We're live. All right, I'm gonna go live in about.
So, do you still have the graphics in there from the other time?
I do. I'm gonna put up just the graph. First of all, here are cameras. We have nothing for camera 2.
For all I know, he didn't turn it on.
Hey, did you turn on the camera?
Wesley did, not Ryan.
Well, camera 1's not even on. Did you push it forward just now?
Open the camera, the viewfinder.
The what?
If you hold the camera like this bit comes out from the left-hand side. Up, bring it. No. Bring your hand up to the camera and open that thing right there. Wild. All right, look at that. Go, Brian.
Hey, what's up?
You got your outfield.
No, I cannot. I'm sorry. I'll already go on for the broadcast at 5 o'clock. I gotta call Andrew. 1 second. All right, bye.
So then
We don't have the center field camera.
Is that the center field? No, what is this then?
Camera 2 center field.
Oh.
Camera 3 is the pitcher's mound camera. That's our close-up set camera. We gotta have someone go out and figure out what the deal is. How about this? Keep it on program. We're gonna keep it on camera 1.
Yeah.
And can you just go out to center field, take as much time as you need. I don't care. Just make sure it's set up. Is that okay?
I guess. I'll fucking rip everything out of the process.
Actually, maybe I'll send Brian out there to do it.
After what just happened?
Brian, come inside.
I'll go look.
Well, fans, welcome to Regency Furniture Stadium. Just about 10 minutes before the start of today's ball game between the FerryHawks and the Blue Crabs. Austin Rooney, happy to have you with us. We also have a brand new section to our pregame show. It's the manager's show. We'll have an opportunity to speak with Stan Clyburn and later on in the season a number of additional players and coaches. So without further ado, let's send you to the first manager's show with Stan Clyburn. All right, here for the manager's show, Austin Rooney with Stan Clyburn, manager of the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. And Stan, a couple questions going into a doubleheader here in the second half. What is the idea going into tonight's ball games?
Well, Austin, anytime you have to play a doubleheader, you always try to win that first game. Doubleheaders, I really never have ever liked them, but of course you can't do anything about weather. But it shortens the game into a 7-inning game, both games. There's more managerial strategy in a shorter game, in a 7-inning game. So, you got to get the runs early. I like to see that. But the main thing is good pitching and defense. And we got 2 guys going out there tonight, Lamson in game 1 and then Butler in game 2 that going to go out there and give us a chance to win.
What do you see out of their pitchers? You got Matt Salter going, and then you've got Guantz going in game 2. Is there any strategy according to what they're putting on the mound tonight?
Well, Salter, I know, is having a good year. His one-loss record, I think, is only 2-6 or 1-6, but his ERA, runs per inning, walks to strikeout ratio are very good. So is Guantz. So that's what they've been their strong point. I know they've been a little down this year in the first half. They've started good the second half, but their downfall was offense the first half. Their pitching's pretty good. They played us tough all year. So we'll have to go out there and battle them just like we do every night. We play our game. We don't really worry about the opposition. We go out and play our game, take care of our business, do what we do best, and then we attack the opponent and do it with good pitching and good defense. And our offense seems to find a way to score runs to win games, and we've done that all year, and hopefully we'll continue to do that.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the moves the Blue Crabs have made recently. Mackenzie Mills, of course, signed. He's headed to Mexico. What's that going to do to this Blue Crabs pitching staff?
Well, we're very much going to miss him. I know that. And, Austin, that's what it's about. The guys going to bigger and better opportunities. Not saying Mexico's a bigger opportunity. Financially, yes. He can go down there and make a pretty good contract down there, and that's what the kid went for. As far as getting exposure down there to major league clubs, it's not the best place to go to get exposed with major league affiliates, with a lot of these guys in the Atlantic League hopefully try to get. But we're going to miss him. 9-1, leading the league in ERA at 2.99. How can you not miss a guy like that? It's just opportunity for Nick Wells to step up. He's going to have a spot start tomorrow in his place, and it's up to me to go out and find another pitcher. I know we traded Denson Hull over to Charleston. He was in our rotation here. We put Merrithew in his spot. And I did the kid a favor and his agent a favor by putting him in a team where he can start. And that's why I look out for the kid, not only their well-being, but also the agent's relationship with them. So we're going to miss Denson, but, hey, he's at a spot where he started. It's just up to me to build the club. You hope you keep the same team together year in and year out, the same personnel since day one, but it really doesn't work that way in any ball because that's not the concept. The concept is to move guys on. And when you do that, you have to find guys to come and replace. And we're going through a little of that now, and we'll get through it.
You mentioned Mackenzie Mills and a lot of his stats that were jumping off the page. What did he do from a stuff-wise, from a pitching perspective that really wowed you?
Well, he threw strikes. He threw strikes and worked quick. I know Darryl Thompson did a tremendous job with this young man. I was really skeptical about him. I'd heard some good and I'd heard some bad from reports, scouting reports from the Frontier League where he was last year, from different managers that I know personally. Really said his work ethic.
Well, we got through most of the manager's show with Stan Kleiber. We're going to get the rest of the manager's show to you between the top and bottom of the first inning. But first, let's bring you inside with Mitch Lamson, who is the starting pitcher for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs tonight. We'll get you some of his numbers and ready for tonight's matchup between the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs and the Staten Island FerryHawks. Let's bring you the starting lineups for the FerryHawks first, and then we'll run you through some of Mitch Lamson's numbers. It's Antoine Duplantis, the left fielder, who will get things going. For Staten Island, batting second, it's Joseph Monhay. He's in right field. Angel Aguilar bats third. He's at second base. The center fielder is Ricardo Cespedes. He is the cleanup hitter. Dilson Herrera bats fifth. He's at first base. And the sixth hitter is Mario Bautista. He is the designated hitter tonight. Batting seventh, it's the catcher, Justin O'Connor. The eighth hitter is the third baseman, Javier Betancourt. Batting ninth, it's Alfredo Reyes. He's at shortstop. And Matt Salter is the pitcher for the Staten Island FerryHawks. Well, let's give you some of the numbers on Mitch Lamson as we are just about ready to go for game time between the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs and the Staten Island FerryHawks. Well, Mitch Lamson comes into this one with a 3.77 ERA. His last time out was way back on July 1st when he took home a loss. 7 innings, 7 hits. He allowed 5 runs and 3 walks. First pitch called strike. Count, no balls and 1 strike on Antoine Duplantis, and we are underway in the top of the first inning. The pitch, this one, swinging a line drive, left center field, base hit, And there's a runner aboard to get things going in the top of the first inning. For tonight's ball game, we should have a full 3-camera broadcast setup. We'll try to get to that to you as soon as we can. We're going to run you through the Blue Crabs' defensive alignment as well in just a couple of moments. Mitch Lampson on the mound tonight for the Blue Crabs, making his 14th start, his 92nd career start in the top of the first inning. Meanwhile, the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs 4-2 in the first half. And the pitch, that's a called strike in the count, no balls and 1 strike on the right-handed hitter, Joseph Monhay. Runner on first base with nobody out in the top of the first. Lampson set. He tosses over to first base. Runner on first with nobody out. FerryHawks got the leadoff man on. That was Antoine Duplantis, the left fielder. Pitch. That one's just off the outside corner. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike. The pitch, big swing and a miss. And the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. We apologize that the screen was black for a couple of moments. We're trying to still sort out a couple of things with our camera setup. We'll hopefully have that by the middle of the first inning. Pitch, big swing and a miss. That's strike 3. Monhay goes down swinging, and there's 1 away in the top of the first inning. Mitch Lampson, not someone who's going to overpower you with his stuff. Throws just around 83 miles an hour. He's had a couple of years throughout his career where he's put up extremely impressive numbers. I'll give you a couple of those seasons. He played in Triple-A for 4 different teams. Played with Fresno in Triple-A back in 2015. Had a 2.60 ERA. Played most recently in Triple-A with the Colorado Clippers. Across 8 2/3 innings, he had a 4.15 ERA. In the Mexican League, as Lampson tosses over to first base to check on the runner Duplantis, who slides back in safely. Played with a team in Mexico, had a 5-4 record with a 5.86 ERA across 50 2/3 innings. That was back in 2018 as well. Again, we'll give you the rest of that manager's show between innings as the pitch a little bit outside. And the count is 1 ball and no strikes on the righty Angel Aguilar. This is Mitch Lampson's second stint in the Atlantic League. His first came back in 2019, where across 26 innings, he allowed just 4 earned runs. Pitch, swing and a miss. Fastball gets him upstairs, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. With 1 away in the top of the first inning. And Lampson checks on the runner at first base, and Duplantis back to the bag. 1 away in the top of the first. FerryHawks coming to this one 5-1 overall on the season as Lampson comes set. Pitch, swing and a miss, and the count, no, 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1 ball, 2 strikes with 1 away in the top of the first inning. A breaking ball backdoor on the right-handed hitter, Angel Aguilar. Mitch Lampson comes in with quite the strikeout numbers. We'll get to those in just 1 minute. Big swing and a miss. And it's strike 3, breaking ball. And it gets the 3-hitter, Angel Aguilar, swinging. And there are 2 away. And here comes the cleanup hitter, Ricardo Cespedes. 2 outs The runner on first base in the top of the first inning. Glad you could join us on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. First pitch, a little bit outside in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Just to give you a little bit of a better update on some pitching numbers from Mitch Lamson. Across 86 innings, he has 84 strikeouts and a 5-3 record. First pitch, swinging a line drive, right field, shallow. Braxton Lee forced to play it on a hop. He fires to the second baseman, Raul Shah, who cuts it off. But it's the second hit in the inning after Antoine Duplantis singled to left center. It's Ricardo Cespedes who pulls a single into right. And there are 2 on with 2 out in the top of the first inning for Dilson Herrera. Here comes Dilson Herrera, whose batting average up to 200. When we saw him back in Staten Island, his batting average was below 100. So the former big leaguer has found a way to get the batting average up. He's also picked up a home run and 13 RBIs along the way. Lamson is set. Pitch. Swinging a line drive toward left. Walker took a step in, now one back and makes the catch for the final out. We're finished with the top of the first inning. Staten Island picks up 2 hits, but they strand 2. At the end of the top of the first, this ball game is scoreless on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
We're on the same page, had a very special bond from Darryl being not only in our starting rotation but also serving as the pitching coach. They got together along good, and Mackenzie will tell you, Darryl Thompson really helped him and put him in a good spot.
You also mentioned Nick Wells earlier, making a spot start on Wednesday. Do you expect him to be in the starting rotation long term?
Well, right now he is in rotation, but we can't go with only 5 or 6 guys down in that bullpen. So I'm out searching for a starter right now. Got the 3 or 4 names that are out there that are being thrown around, and hopefully land the one I want. It's all about timing. It's all about, a lot of the kids are waiting for this draft on Sunday. The Major League Baseball draft is Sunday. A lot of these players that are out there are waiting to see what the draft beholds. These are players that are probably been mentioned getting picked up by any particular organization in Major League Baseball, and they want to see what the draft brings. So there's a lot of things, a lot of wheels turning, but we definitely have to get a pitcher in here, and I hope Nick Wells goes out tomorrow and does well in his spot start. He has started a lot in his career. You look at his stat page and his resume, a lot of starts in his career, so it's nothing new to him, and he's excited about it.
One more player I'd like to ask you about, someone we just added to this roster. Mike Falsetti comes in. He was here in 2019. What went into the decision to bring him back to Southern Maryland?
Well, he brings a veteran presence, more so like maybe a player-coach type presence. I know he's going to work in that bullpen with those pitchers down there. Over the course of the last 2 months when DeLuca came back from the Cincinnati Reds, playing a lot of first base, catching, complimenting Ryan Hogg, there's nobody in the bullpen. And when you look down there and you're getting your bullpen ready for the game, a Latos, a Brycenio, Patrick Baker, and all these guys throwing the ball, 90-plus miles an hour, and you look down at who's catching them. Well, you got Dan Roney, and you got Eddie Butler, and you got Mitch Lamson down there with the catching gear on, catching these guys. That don't look good. And, that's just one pitch away from getting a thumb injury or whatever. So we brought Mike in to handle that situation.
Well, we welcome you back. In the bottom of the first inning, had a chance to listen to a little more from our manager's show earlier today. First pitch is a called strike on the outside corner to Jack Sundberg. And the count is no balls and 1 strike on the lefty. Blue Crabs added Mike Falsetti to the mix. They've also, and this one swinging a ground ball through the middle of the center field for a base hit. Jack Sundberg aboard to get things started in the bottom of the first inning. We'll get you the numbers on Matt Salter briefly. I was just about to mention, though, that the Blue Crabs add Mike Falsetti, and Mackenzie Mills signs in Mexico, as you heard moments ago. as he's headed down to Mexico. He's got a new contract in Cancun with the Quintana Roo. So a change of scenery for Mackenzie Mills. Had an outstanding 2.99 ERA before the pickup. Solter on the mound for Staten Island. First pitch, swinging a line drive up the middle from Raul Shah. It's got to be a monkey off the back for Raul Shah, who picks up his first hit in the month of July. 1 for 17 after a very slow start. Gets the opportunity at second base today and drives a single up the middle. And there are runners on first and second now with nobody out in the bottom of the first. And Jared Walker comes to the mound. Or Jared Walker comes to the box, I should say. With Matt Solter on the mound. We'll give you the numbers on Matt Solter in just one moment. Solter set. First pitch to Jared Walker. A breaking ball inside in the count. 1 ball and no strikes on the lefty. 2 on, nobody out. Bottom of the first inning in a scoreless ball game. Here's the pitch. Ground ball, first base side, fielded by Herrera. Throw to second for 1. Back on to first, not in time. Herrera to the shortstop, Reyes. He tried to fire back to first, but not in time. And there are runners on first and third now, with 1 away in the bottom of the first inning. And it's time for David Harris. You couldn't really ask for a hotter bat for the Blue Crabs. Harris 6 for 10 at the plate in the series against York. So let's give you those numbers on Solter. Comes in with a 3.27 ERA, a record of 2-6. First pitch is low in the dirt. And the count 1 ball and no strikes on David Harris. Harris taps home plate once. Last time out for Matt Solter. 7 innings of work, 6 hits, just 1 earned run. That was at Long Island. Pitch. That's away. Count 2 balls and no strikes on David Harris. Here's the pitch. It's a call the ball a little bit low and inside, and we'll give you the umpires for today's ball game as well. It's Jim Clayton behind the plate. First base, Scott Hart. And Bill Worthington is at third base. Worthington replaces Mike Mackey from yesterday's ball game. 3-0 delivery, line drive, right field, base hit. Third hit of the inning. This one drives in a run as David Harris goes the other way, an RBI single. And the Blue Crabs are on the board first in the bottom of the first inning. 1-0 lead for Southern Maryland. David Harris's bat remains red hot. 7 for his last 11 at the plate over the past 4 ball games. And the Blue Crabs have a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first off of Matt Solter, who allowed 6 hits across 7 innings last time out. He's allowed 3 hits in just 1/3 of an inning in today's ball game. First pitch misses away and low for ball 1 on Alex Crosby, who bats 5th for the Blue Crabs. One-0 delivery. That's away. Count 2-0. Meanwhile, Shah has to shuffle back to the bag as there was a snap throw from the catcher, Justin O'Connor, over to second base. Let's run you through the Blue Crabs batting order and then the defensive alignment for Staten Island. Jack Sundberg bats first. He singled up the middle. Raul Shah followed him up on the very next pitch with a single up the middle. Jared Walker grounded out to first into a force out. And then the cleanup hitter, David Harris, just drove in a base hit, scoring Jack Sundberg from third base. 2-0 pitch, low and in. Count 3 balls and no strikes on Alex Crosby. Well, Crosby bats 5th. The 6th hitter is Braxton Lee today. At first base, it's Joe DeLuca. He bats 7th. Ryan Haug doing the catching in the 8th spot. And the 9-hitter is Michael Baca at shortstop. 3-0 pitch. That's away. That's ball 4. And there are the bases loaded now with just 1 out in the bottom of the first inning. So from third base, it's Jared Walker. He reached on the fielder's choice as Raul Shaw was on first base. It was a ground ball at first. They threw to second to get Shaw at second as the lead out, but couldn't get Jared Walker back at first base. Meanwhile, David Harris drove in an RBI single as Sundberg scored from third base. And then Alex Crosby walks. So Walker from third, Harris from second, Crosby at first with 1 out and a 1-0 Blue Crabs lead. First pitch check swing from Braxton Lee, and the count no balls and 1 strike on the lefty. Meanwhile, Solter is set. 0-1 pitch upcoming to Braxton Lee. Pitch way outside, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Solter has become the ace of this Staten Island pitching staff. And he's gone deep in starts, and he generally has had good control. Walks haven't been a major issue for him. 20 walks across 77 innings. 1-0 pitch, or 1-1 pitch, I should say. Up and away, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Had a 3-0 count on David Harris before a base hit, and issued a 4-pitch walk to Alex Crosby. 9 of the last 11 pitches have been balls. Pitch, that's low and in. Count 3 balls and 1 strike. Make it 10 out of 12 from Matt Solter. Had a 3-0 count before a single from David Harris. 4 consecutive balls to Crosby. That's 7 out of 8, which were balls at the time. And now 3 out of 4 here against Braxton Lee in the 3-1 pitch. That's a swing and a ground ball to second. Could be 2. Trouble handling it briefly at second. On to second for 1. Back on to first. Not in time. The second baseman, Angel Aguilar, held on to that ball for just a split second too long. And it's enough to give the Blue Crabs a run in the bottom of the first inning. It's their second run of the game as Jared Walker scores from third base. As the Blue Crabs have a 2-0 lead, Braxton Lee drives in a run on a fielder's choice. Southern Maryland 2, Staten Island nothing in the bottom of the first inning. The Blue Crabs get the offense going against Matt Solter, who's found himself in a lot of hitters' counts. But he does now have 2 away. In the bottom of the first inning, it brings up Joe DeLuca. DeLuca, a switch hitter who bats from the left side. As Braxton Lee stands on first base. Lee 12 for 12 in stolen bases this year. Would not be surprised to see him run. Pitch, big wave and a miss. And the count no balls and 1 strike. DeLuca digs back in from the left side. Blue Crabs, winners of 7 of their last 9 games. Had won 3 in a row coming into Sunday, but suffered a loss. As Matt Solter tosses over to first base to check on Braxton Lee. From third base, it's Harris. From first base, Lee. Pitch. That's away, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike. I beg your pardon, 1 ball and 1 strike on DeLuca. Harris reached on the RBI single. Braxton Lee reaches on a fielder's choice that also brings in an RBI. Blue Crabs lead at 2-0 in the bottom of the first. Solter, 1-1 pitch. That's away. Count 2 balls and 1 strike. So just to go back through this, I know we've talked about it already at some length. After back-to-back singles to get things started and a ground out, or a fielder's choice to be more specific, to Jared Walker, a 3-0 count when Harris gets his hit, a 3-1 count, a 4-pitch walk to Crosby, and now behind in the count 2-1 on DeLuca. The pitch now, that's a swing and a miss, and the count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. But it's a common theme here. Falls behind in the count to Harris, falls behind in the count to Crosby. Actually ends up walking him behind in the count to Lee, and fell behind in the count for the 4th time this inning. Now to Joe DeLuca. 2-2 pitch, swinging a line drive. This one headed up the middle for a base hit. Harris scores from third. Lee goes first to third, an RBI single for Joe DeLuca as the Blue Crabs now lead this one 3-0. A 3-run first inning on 4 hits and a walk, and they're not done yet as the Blue Crabs still have runners on the corners with just 2 outs. Ryan Haug comes to the plate. Matt Solter has certainly run himself into some trouble as the Blue Crabs have nearly batted around. Ryan Haug can reach here. The Blue Crabs will have batted around. It's a 3-run first inning. RBIs to Harris, Lee, and DeLuca. First pitch, a little bit low and away in the count. 1 ball and no strikes. Everybody except Jared Walker has gotten on base for the Blue Crabs here in the first inning. Braxton Lee didn't get a hit. It was a fielder's choice, but he also reached. Pitch, that's a little bit low. And the count 2 balls and no strikes. Well, I should make a correction. Everybody has reached for the Blue Crabs. Jared Walker reached on a fielder's choice as well. Every single Blue Crabs batter has reached base so far in the first inning. 2-0 pitch. Called strike, count 2 balls and 1 strike. It would have to be something completely bizarre to find a way for Ryan Haug to reach. And for the Blue Crabs still to not get a traditional out in an inning where the batter doesn't get out himself. 2-1 pitch, that's up and in, count 3 balls and 1 strike. It would have to be some way of Ryan Haug getting on with a walk or a single, and then a caught stealing or a pickoff move of some sort to result in the final out. Because every single batter has otherwise reached base for the Blue Crabs. Fielder's choice for Lee and for Walker. But both of them got on. 3-1 pitch. That swung on and fouled back to the netting. And the count 3 balls and 2 strikes. Bottom of the first inning, Southern Maryland has put up a 3-spot. RBI single from David Harris. A fielder's choice from Braxton Lee that drives in a run. And Joe DeLuca with an RBI single as well, bringing in David Harris to give the Blue Crabs a 3-0 lead. 3-2 pitch. Swinging a ground ball toward the hole on the left side. Going to be a hard play. A long throw for Reyes across the diamond, but it's in time. And that ends the bottom of the first inning. The Blue Crabs score 3, though, on 4 hits and a walk. And the Blue Crabs have a 3-0 lead as we go to the top of the second. Yes, definitely. How do I do that? You see that little switch there on top of the camera? Right, up, that one. You go in, if you go forward, that's zoom in. Back is zoom back. So zoom in on Mitch Lamson right now. Have you ever operated a camera before? No. Okay, call. Hi, Amanda, how are you? Yeah, let me see. It still is not on. It's not reading it at all. It might be worth bringing it in. I don't want to make you do this, but bring it in. See if we can connect it in here, and then bring it back out.
I'm not bringing it back out. I'm telling you that right now. I can't bring it back out. I'm going to pass the fuck out.
We'll find someone else then.
So don't bring it in if you want me to bring it in.
Well, it's not doing us any good being black out there in the center field, so let's bring it in. All right, bye. Well, we are back in the top of the second inning. First pitch is outside for ball one, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. Well, the first batter is Mariel Bautista, swinging a one-hopper toward third base. Alex Crosby goes down to a knee, deflects off his glove. Now Jared Walker with trouble with it in left field. And there's a runner on second base with nobody out in the top of the second inning. As the FerryHawks had the leadoff guy on, I'd have to think, I don't know, I'm not going to speak too soon. I might call that an error, but I have a feeling it might be called a base hit on Mariel Bautista, who picks up the hit. It is Alex Crosby who had trouble with it at third base. Either way, Bautista on first now. Pitch, swinging a high fly ball, left center field, not all that deep. It says sends Sundberg back in front of the warning track. He makes the catch, tagging and going to third. Bautista gets past Crosby, and Mitch Lamson there for backup. Runner on third base with nobody out. As Justin O'Connor hits one to deep left center field. So there's a runner on third base now with one out in the top of the second inning. Well done for Bautista to steal third, to advance to third base on that fly ball to center field. As Sundberg had to backtrack all the way in front of the warning track to make that catch. The pitch, that one's a little bit outside, and the count 1 ball and no strikes now on Javier Betancourt. Betancourt comes into this one with a .257 batting average. He has 15 RBIs and 3 home runs. Runner on third base. Here's the pitch, a little bit low and away, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. Runner on third base. Pitch, that one swung on and lifted over toward the third base side. The pitch, this one swinging a line drive, looping toward right field, and Shaw drifts back to make the catch for the second out. Apologize there for some silence. We're working through some technical difficulties here in the top of the second inning, trying to get all of our camera angles up and running. Top of the second inning, 1 out. As the 9-hitter Alfredo Reyes comes to the plate. First pitch called, strike on Alfredo Reyes. Blue Crabs 3, FerryHawks nothing in the top of the second inning. Alfredo Reyes, a shortstop. Had quite the basket yesterday playing some basketball before the storm. We'll get to that story in a little bit. Pitch swinging a ground ball, hard hit. Comes way up on Crosby and hits him in the face. He's very disappointed with the hop that it took on him. It's the second time he's had trouble with the ball so far in this ball game. And some clear disappointment. The run's going to come home and score from third base. It's Alfredo Reyes who will reach. It's Mariel Bautista who will come home. Alfredo Reyes. All of the Staten Island FerryHawks players are playing some basketball. And the warning track is the 1-1 pitch is fouled back, count 1-2. Batter's eye. Reyes made a shot from a warning track in the outfield over the batter's eye into the hoop on the basketball court behind the batter's eye. Was quite the shot from Reyes. Skills as well. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Antoine Duplantis. He's 1 for 1 today. Had a base hit to get things going in the first inning. Pitch, swinging a line drive, right field, down the line. It's stopping, drops for a base. The fire into the cutoff man shot late. For Antoine Duplantis, it's a 3-2 ball game as it was lifted down the right field line and goes all the way. It's for an extra base hit. It's a 3-2 ball game as the Staten Island FerryHawks scored twice. We apologize for our feed being a little bit choppy earlier today. We're trying to get that back up and straighten out for everybody. Ball was blocked by the catcher, Ryan Haug. And Duplantis took a long lead off of third base. We should have the situation with the camera feed all straightened out now. Mitch Lampson set. Pitch a little bit away. And the count 1 ball and no strikes. Duplantis from third with 2 outs. A 3-2 ball game as FerryHawks gotten 2 back here in the inning. 2-0 pitch. That's foul back first base side. And the count 2 balls and 1 strike. So Duplantis from third with 2 outs. Count 2 balls and 1 strike. Pitch. It's a called strike, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Austin Rooney, glad to have you with us this evening. 2-2 delivery is away in the count 3 balls and 2 strikes. On Joseph Monhay, he's 0 for 1 today. Mitch Lampson stares down at his catcher. Ryan Haug. 3-2 delivery, swinging a foul ball back behind home plate. Count remains 3-2. Lampson. It's a sign from Haug. Now here's the 3-2. Swinging a ground ball towards short. Backhanded by Baca. Strong throw to first. It's in time. Couple of tough plays at third base generate 2 runs for the FerryHawks in the top of the second. The Blue Crabs lead this one 3-2 at the end of 1.5.
This is Darryl Thompson, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Chick-fil-A of Charles County has been a proud supporter of the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs since their inception in 2008. For years, they have sponsored the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, America's prisoners of war and missing in action. In between the second inning of each game, there is a moment of silence brought to you by Chick-fil-A. The Southern Maryland Blue Crabs appreciate and respect not only Chick-fil-A, but all of those that have served our great country. The seat that they sponsor was made possible by Chick-fil-A of Charles County. Thank you so much, and visit any of your Charles County Chick-fil-A locations today.
Well, we are ready to go here in the second inning. As the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, there's now one away in the bottom of the second. It's a 3-2 ball game. As Michael Baca hit a line drive right down that third base line. First pitch to Sundberg is behind him. And the count, 1 ball and no strikes. 3-2 Blue Crabs. 3 runs way back in the first inning. Try to process through a couple of technical difficulties here. 1-0 pitch to Sundberg. A little bit outside in the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. Balls and no strikes on Jack Sundberg. 3-2 Blue Crabs lead in the bottom of the second. 3-0 pitch is a called strike on the outside corner. And the count, 3 balls and 1 strike. Base paths are empty with 1 away. Pitch, it's a little bit away, and it's ball 4. It's the second walk issued by Matt Solter today. A 4-pitch walk issued to Alex Crosby earlier in this ball game. And he's fallen behind in a lot of counts. It's not the first time that he's run himself into some trouble offensively. As Raul Shaw comes to the plate. Shaw singled in the first pitch he saw back in the second inning. And for players, back in the first inning I should say, and for players like Raul Shaw, it's all about trying to limit those slumps. And he was going through one earlier in the month, had just 1 hit in the month of June, but working through that now. Base hit as the first pitch is in there for a called strike, and the count, no balls and 1 strike. Blue Crabs with 3 runs on 4 hits, all 4 hits coming back in the first. Singles from Sundberg, Shaw, another single from Harris and DeLuca. And paired with a Crosby walk, the Blue Crabs found a way to bring in 4 runs. The RBIs going to Harris, to Lee, and to DeLuca. All but one Blue Crabs batter actually reached base back in the second inning. Pitch that's low. They motion to first base, and Jim Clayton says that he went around. And so the count is No balls and 2 strikes. One away after the line out to third base to get things started from Michael Baca. Raul Shah digs back in. 0-2 pitch is low. And the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Understand we're running through some technical difficulties. We'll try to get that up to you as soon as we can. For some of those technical difficulties we had. We apologize for some of the technical difficulties you were working through earlier in the inning. Should have had those sorted out now in the bottom of the second inning. Just to give you an update on where we stand. There is 1 out in the bottom of the second inning. The Blue Crabs have a 3-2 lead over the FerryHawks. Jack Sundberg reached first base on a walk earlier in the inning. It was the second walk issued by Matt Salter in this ballgame. 1-2 to Shaw. Swung on and popped up first base side. And it goes foul toward the seats. And the count 1 ball and 2 strikes it remains. It was the first pitch swinging from Michael Baca, and he got a real hold of that ball. Ripped it to third. As Sundberg digs back in. Pitch upstairs. Check swing. They motion down to first base, and this time Clayton says he doesn't go around. 2 balls, 2 strikes. On the righty, Shaw, who's putting up an impressive at-bat here in the second inning. First at-bat, swung at the first pitch. This will be the 6th pitch of the at-bat upcoming to Raul Shaw. Salter, set of the chest, pitch, comes inside and hits Raul Shaw. Hit him up in that front left thigh area, maybe a little above the knee. And so there's a runner on first and second now with just 1 out as it brings up Jared Walker. One of just 4 players for the Blue Crabs who has not reached base yet in the second inning. Sundberg with a hit and a walk. Shaw with a hit and a walk. Harris with a base hit. Crosby walked. And then Joe DeLuca picked up a base hit and an RBI single. Blue Crabs actually had all but 1 batter reach base, whether it's through a walk, a hit, or a fielder's choice. The only batter who didn't reach base back in the first was the 8-hitter Raul Shaw, as the first pitch is upstairs on Jared Walker, count 1-0. Salter set, 1-0 pitch. Called strike, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Walker leads the Blue Crabs in home runs with 13. Second on the Blue Crabs is David Harris with 8. This is not a team that hits a ton of home runs, all things considered. Salter steps off the mound. And the count remains 1 ball and 1 strike on the lefty, Jared Walker. This is a team that has a lot of guys who hit for really solid contact. We've seen Alex Crosby break out the bats earlier this year with some strong contact, which makes a big difference. The pitch, it's away, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Terrific contact guys hitting over 300, but we're not seeing the power from guys like Crosby and even guys like DeLuca. And Joe DeLuca's got a ton of pop in the bat. We just haven't quite seen it break out yet this year. Pitch, line drive, back behind home plate. And the count 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Walker. Jared Walker, I beg your pardon, Alex Crosby not the only guy who hasn't had all that much power this season. Another guy, Braxton Lee, and Lee's not known for the power necessarily. He hits in the 7 spot and had just 1 home run all of last year. But when you've got a lot of contact guys in your order 1 to 9, you're not going to see quite as much of that home run pop in the bats. Count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Salter steps off the back of the rubber to look back Jack Sundberg over at second base. So from second, it's Sundberg. From first, it's Shaw. Bottom of the second inning.
Sundberg was issued the 1-out walk before Shaw was plunked on the right thigh.
2-2 delivery. Ground ball toward first. Could be two. Herrera has trouble handling with it. He touches the bag himself, and now there are two away. He's not going to get an error for that play, but he probably would have liked to get the lead out at second base as opposed to the out at first base. And I'm not exactly sure that Matt Solter is excited to see David Harris at the plate, who's 7 for his last 11. 6 hits paired with 5 RBIs in the series against York. And so far, he's 1 for 1 in the series against Staten Island, and he's driven in a run. Talk about a guy who's red hot at the plate, hitting over .360 on the season. He leads the Atlantic League by north of 25 points. So it's Sundberg from third, Shaw from second as the Blue Crabs look to tack on an extra run or two here. Solter, set of the chest. First pitch. That's low and away. Oh, it's a called strike. One barely clipped the outer edge. Did not look like a strike from our angle up top. Count no balls in 1 strike. 0-1 delivery, swinging a line drive, right center field. It drops for a base hit. Sundberg scores from third. It's Shaw from second. It's a 2 RBI single from David Harris. He's 2 for 2. He's driven in 3 runs in his last 4 games. He's 8 for his last 12. He continues his red-hot performance at the plate as the Blue Crabs have a 5-2 lead in the second. A perfect example of David Harris not trying to do too much with that ball. He goes the other way to right center field. Again, he came in 6 for 10 in his last 3 games. He's now 8 for his last 12 with a 2 for 2 performance today. First pitch up and away for ball 1 on Alex Crosby, in the count 1 ball and no strikes. So Matt Solter came into this one with a 3.26 ERA, had a really impressive start last time out. 7 innings, 1 run, 6 hits. That was at Staten Island. Well, they can't exactly say the same today. Inning and 2/3, 5 runs on 5 hits along with 2 walks. It's been a tough go of things for the righty. Pitch. That's low, and the count 3 balls and no strikes now on Alex Crosby. It was a 4-pitch walk first time around at Crosby. It's a 3-0 count this time on the lefty. 3-0 pitch, swinging a line drive, shallow right field, but it's right at the right fielder, Joseph Monhay, who makes the catch for the final out. Well, the Blue Crabs score 2. They do strand 1 at the end of 2 innings of play. It's the Blue Crabs who have a 5-2 lead over the FerryHawks on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Matt Latos, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
we are back in the top of the third inning. 5-2 Blue Crabs. Mitchell Lamson worked around a couple of unearned runs back in the top of the second inning. The Blue Crabs 3 runs in the bottom of the first. FerryHawks 2 runs in the top of the second, and the Blue Crabs 2 more in the bottom of the second inning off of Matt Salter. A 7-inning ball game, the first of 2 today in a doubleheader, as the first pitch is low and away for ball 1. And the count 1-0 on Angel Aguilar. 3, 4, and 5 due up in the order for the Staten Island FerryHawks. Angel Aguilar, Ricardo Cespedes, and Dilson Herrera. 1-0 pitch called strike in the count. 1 ball and 1 strike now on the left-handed hitter who plays second base. 1-0 delivery. High pop-up first base side. Long run. Howe gives chase, and it lands inside the Staten Island dugout. It's a perfect place. Staten Island FerryHawk hits it into the FerryHawks dugout. They'll just keep that ball, I'd imagine. You don't want to give it back now that you've got it. So the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody out in the top of the third. Mitch Lamson is that crafty lefty. Only throws in the low to mid 80s. 1-2 pitch from Lamson. Swinging a ground ball toward third. A little bit of an awkward hop, but Crosby smothers it. Throw to first. It's a close play, but it beats Angel Aguilar by a half step. And there's 1 away. In the second inning, the Blue Crabs ran into some trouble. There's 2 hits in the first inning from Mitch Lamson, but in the second inning, the first batter of the inning, it was Mario Bautista, hit a ground ball, and it was a tough play for Alex Crosby. Deflected off of his glove, ended up allowing Bautista to get to second base, I should say. He reached third in a fly out from Justin O'Connor. And it should have ended the inning just a little bit later as Alfredo Reyes hit a ground ball to third base. And Crosby couldn't handle that one either as it deflected up into his face area. And the 1-0 pitch is a called strike. Count 1 ball and 1 strike. It was one of those plays that was honestly a little surprising for Crosby, who knows his infield pretty well. 1-1 pitch fouled off third base side, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. But even if you know this infield well, it's going to play some tricks on you, and it certainly played some tricks on Crosby in his first time up. Pitch, swinging a ground ball toward first. It's foul ball as DeLuca picks it up in foul territory. The count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes. Count 1 and 2 in the top of the third inning. Blue Crabs have a 5-2 lead over the FerryHawks. One 1-2 pitch upcoming from Mitch Lamson. Pitch, swinging a ground ball, 1 hopper toward third. Fielded on the backhand by Crosby. He's been busy. It's not a great throw as DeLuca forced to come off the bag and swipe tag the runner, Ricardo Cespedes. But there are 2 outs in the top of the third inning. And here comes Dilson Herrera, the only player in the FerryHawks starting lineup who has some Major League Baseball experience. Now 2 away. First pitch, a little bit outside of the count, 1 ball and no strikes. So we have the K-Man, ice cream K-Man of the game. So Landon's Ices and Creams, which is over in La Plata, Maryland, will get a free coupon to Landon's Ices and Creams should Dilson Herrera strike out in today's ballgame. 1-0 pitch, a little bit away, and the count 2 balls and no strikes. A little surprised they chose Dilson Herrera, the only guy with big league experience. Usually it's someone toward the bottom of the lineup who finds his way to the K-Man list, but today it's Dilson Herrera. 2-0 pitch, big wave and a miss in the count, 2-1. Count 2 balls and 1 strike. So game 2 will be 30 minutes after the conclusion of game 1. We're going to keep the same broadcast running as the 2-1 pitch is popped up foul behind home plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 2-2, swinging a line drive, hard hit toward left field. Walker ranges a couple steps over towards center and makes the catch at shoulder height for the final out. Well, that will end the top of the 3rd inning. A 1-2-3 inning for Mitch Lampson. We're finished with 2.5. The Blue Crabs have a 5-2 lead on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. And the first pitch is a called strike from Matt Solter on Jack Sundberg, trying to work through our new camera setup here in the 3rd inning. Swinging a line drive from Lee towards center field, and it drops in for a base hit in front of Ricardo Cespedes. Leadoff single for Braxton Lee, and the Blue Crabs had the leadoff man on in 2 of the first 3 innings. It brings up Joe DeLuca, who's 1 for 1 today with an RBI single. Braxton Lee hitting .302 on the season after the base hit. As Joe DeLuca will dig in. Matt Solter set. First pitch, swinging a ground ball toward first base, fielded by Herrera, but it's in foul territory. And they count no balls and 1 strike. He ended up fielding that ball right by first base, tried to make a play on it, but the first base umpire in today's ball game, Jim Clayton, said, nope, that's in foul territory. Blue Crabs lead this game 5-2 in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Let's run through the scoring in today's ball game. 3 runs on 4 hits for the Blue Crabs in the bottom of the 1st. FerryHawks got 2 runs back on 3 hits in the top of the 2nd inning, though both runs went down as unearned. And then in the bottom of the 2nd inning, the Blue Crabs scored 2 more runs, took a 5-2 lead. Well, DeLuca steps in from the left side once more. Count 1 ball and 1 strike. Braxton Lee on first base. Pitch, swinging a high fly ball, deep right field, way back to the warning track. It's Monhay in front of the wall, and he makes the catch. Joe DeLuca nearly hit that ball out of the ballpark, but just a little bit shy. It shows you the power that he has in his bat, but merely a long fly out. And there is one away. Here comes Ryan Haug. Comes to the plate with one out in the bottom of the third inning. Blue Crabs 5 runs on 6 hits today. Have also walked twice and had one batter hit by a pitch. So 8 base runners so far in the first 2 1/3 innings of work, as Braxton Lee has a short lead off of first base. First pitch to Haug, called strike. Well, Joe DeLuca had a single back in the first inning and a ground ball up the middle, but that ball he hit just moments ago, much better hit than the one he did in the first inning, but results in a long fly out. That's the way baseball goes. Sometimes you hit it on the nose, and unfortunately a fielder can track it down. 0-1 pitch on Haug, swinging a high pop-up, shallow center field, long run. It's the second baseman, Angel Aguilar, out onto the outfield grass to make the catch. He throws to first quickly, and he doubles off Braxton Lee. A 4-3 double play. Usually a 4-3 double play, a guy touches the bag on second and fires to first. Not this time. It's a pop-up into shallow center field. Angel Aguilar makes the catch, had the presence of mind to check on first base. He fired to first in time to get Braxton Lee to double him off and end the bottom of the third inning. One of your less traditional 1-2-3 innings, as the Blue Crabs still have a 5-2 lead as we go to the top of the fourth. In game 1 of a 2-game set, it's a 7-inning ball game. Stick with us on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
When you need a win on the road, don't get left stranded. Make AAA part of your roster and you'll always have someone on deck ready to get you home. AAA also offers car care, insurance, and travel services, and has stores conveniently located for Blue Crabs fans in Brandywine, Crofton, and Alexandria. Don't forget to ask them about membership discounts for military and first responders. Please visit AAA.com to learn more or to find a AAA location near you.
First pitch, swinging from Mario Bautista. It's through the left side for a base hit. And a leadoff man on at first base. Now the throw comes back to first base. No one backing up. It gets by DeLuca, and Mario Bautista takes off for second. And after a single through the left side, it's a throwing error from the Blue Crabs. And it allows Mario Bautista to find his way to second base with nobody out in the top of the fourth inning. Oh, Blue Crabs make their second error of the day. FerryHawks 2 runs on 6 hits. The Blue Crabs 5 runs on 6 hits in the top of the 4th inning. Hasn't been the prettiest of outings for Mitch Lamson, but has not surrendered an earned run yet. Pitch, that's a little low in the count. 1 ball and no strikes on Justin O'Connor, the catcher who bats 7th for the FerryHawks. This is a FerryHawks team that has quite a few new faces. Not all that similar to the FerryHawks team that started the season. 1-0 pitch. A little bit inside in the count. 2 balls and no strikes now on O'Connor. Well, back in the 2nd inning, it was Bautista who got the offense started on a ground ball to 3rd that Alex Crosby had deflect off of his glove and over toward left field. Pitch, line drive, hard hit, 3rd base side into the seats. And the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 balls, 1 strike, nobody out. Runner on 2nd base in the top of the 4th, 5-2. Blue Crabs lead the FerryHawks. 2-1 pitch, low and away, and the count 3 balls and 1 strike. Well, Mitch Lamson's gone 3+ innings of work. And he's allowed 2 runs, both unearned on 6 hits. 3-1, popped it up. Shallow right field, long run for Lee, who shades his eyes from the sun and makes the catch for the first out. It's a difficult play for Braxton Lee with the sun in his eyes, the shadows making it difficult for batters, and, well, the sun making it difficult for the fielders. Not sure if you can hear it, but it's dog day at the ballpark, Wagon Wednesday, bark in the park, whatever variation you prefer. Runner on 2nd with 1 out as Javier Betancourt digs in from the right side. First pitch in the dirt, blocked by Haug. He throws down to 3rd as Bautista takes off and he gets in safely. Oh, a terrific job by Mario Bautista. He takes off immediately once that ball is in the dirt. Does not look back and steals 3rd successfully. We'll to see if that goes down as a wild pitch. Have to imagine it does. That ball found its way in the dirt, and he was off immediately. Count merely 1 ball and no strikes on Javier Betancourt. A runner on 3rd base, and 1 out. Pitch, swinging a high pop-up overhead here in the press box. And the count, 1 ball and 1 strike in the top of the 4th inning. This is going to be a 7-inning ball game, barring extra innings. So it's only the top of the 4th inning, but think of it like the top of the 6th inning. Pitch, swinging a ground ball, softly hit toward 3rd. Crosby looks to home. There's no play. Throw to 1st is in time. So that ball that was in the dirt that allowed Mario Bautista to get to 3rd base proves costly for the Blue Crabs. Instead of a 5-2 game with a runner on 3rd base, it is a 5-3 ball game in the top of the 4th inning as Staten Island scratches a run across. First pitch is a little low, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. And the count now 2 balls and 1 strike on the righty, Alfredo Reyes. Pitch from Lamson. Swinging a high pop-up, shallow right field. It's going to be staying in the infield, though, as Raul Shaw takes a couple steps to his left and makes the catch for the final out. Well, the FerryHawks do score a run. It's now a 5-3 ball game after Mario Bautista singled. Reached second on an error, stole third base on a pitch low in the dirt, and comes home on a ground out in the infield. At the end of 3.5 innings of play, the Blue Crabs have a 2-run lead on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
All Pawn is Southern Maryland's premier pawn shop and is the official pawn shop of the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. Stop by and say hello today. They've been a part of the Southern Maryland community for 18 years. If you need some cash to hold you over, or if you're just doing some spring cleaning and want to clear some stuff out, please bring it by All Pawn and let them make you an offer. If you have broken jewelry or some that you just don't want anymore, please bring it by, and they'll pay you more than anyone in the Tri-County area. They're located on 301 in White Plains, just south of DeMar Road. Go Blue Crabs!
We're back in the bottom of the 4th inning. Pitch to Baca on the ground towards shortstop, fielded by Betancourt. Throw to first is in time. And there's one away in the bottom of the 4th inning. 5-3 Blue Crabs lead. 3 runs in the first. They added 2 runs in the 2nd inning en route to their 5-2 advantage, which became a 5-3 game in the top of the 4th when the FerryHawks got one back. This is a 7-inning ball game as the Blue Crabs come into this one with a 4-2 record. And they're watching what's going on in Lancaster and what's going on here in Staten Island as the Blue Crabs trail a game back of the FerryHawks. Pitch a little bit outside. And the count 2 balls and no strikes. So the Lancaster Barnstormers are 6-1. Blue Crabs 4-2. So the Blue Crabs sit a game and a half back of the top spot in the Atlantic League North Division for the second half as the 2-0 pitch is away. Count 3-0. Well, Matt Solter has walked 2 batters. He's also hit a batter. He walked Sundberg earlier in this ball game. 3-0 pitch is low and in. It's ball 4. It's the second time he's walked a batter on 4 pitches today. He walked Crosby on Throw to ground ball over towards second base will end the inning as the Blue Crabs have a 5-3 lead. We go to the top of the fifth. We apologize for our technical difficulties we're working through in today's ball game as we back in the top of the fifth inning.
Sorry, here we have some technical difficulties on our end. Do you hear me too much? Good. Chef, right? Hope you don't hear what I have to say. Maybe. This is, it's kind of a... It's in everything. I have no idea. I've been talking over this way generally. I can hear what you say most of the time, like half the time. Oh, it's okay. It actually makes me think. I was like, it's a good point. I should start talking about that.
Leading off for the FerryHawks, the left fielder, number 18, Antoine Duplantis.
Yeah, right. It did nothing to do with what's going on.
Well, we are back in the top of the fifth inning. First pitch from Mitch Lamson, a little bit away on Antoine Duplantis to get things started in the top of the fifth inning. The Southern Maryland Blue Crabs have a 5-3 lead over the Staten Island FerryHawks. 5 runs on 6 hits for the Blue Crabs, 3 runs on 6 hits for Staten Island. You have to think what the bullpen might look like as the pitch, big swing and a miss, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. The Blue Crabs typically would go to someone like Briseño in the 8th or 9th, but now you think maybe you go to Briseño in the 6th or 7th inning. 0-1 pitch, or 1-1 pitch, I should say, is inside in the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Blue Crabs got all the offense going early. 3 runs in the first, they scored 2 in the second, but have been kept off the board in 4th and 5th. Mitch Lamson the pitch. That one's popped up foul, third base side, headed toward the concourse level. And the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Oh, and Mitch Lamson can find a way to get the first out in the inning. It's made a big difference. Allowed the leadoff base runners on in the first, the second, and the fourth, and ran into trouble in each of those innings. 1-2-3 inning, the only inning he did not allow a base hit. Pitch, that's swinging a line drive into right field for a base hit. So in 4 of the 5 innings, the leadoff batter has gotten on for the FerryHawks. Only one that didn't was in the 3rd inning. It was a clean 1-2-3 inning from Mitch Lamson. Pitch, swinging a line drive, foul, first base side. And the count, no balls and 1 strike on Joseph Monhe. Runner on first base is Antoine Duplantis, stands on first. Mitch Lamson, pitch, a little bit low. And the count, 1 ball and 1 strike on Joseph Monhe. Game 1 start time was at 5 o'clock. We sit at 6:30 in the top of the 5th inning. Count 1 ball and 1 strike on Joseph Monheim with a runner on first base and nobody out. Southern Maryland Blue Crabs start the second half 4-2. Pitch called strike in the count to 1 ball or 2 balls and 2 strikes on the righty. Well, yesterday's ball game was rained out due to some intense rainstorms that hit the state of Maryland. It was bad here in Waldorf, but worst upstate. We'll get to that in a moment. Pitch swinging a ground ball through the right side past the outstretched reach of Shaw for a base hit. Back-to-back hits to get things started in the top of the 5th inning. Would not be surprised if the Blue Crabs start to get that bullpen going now. And what's just a 7-inning game, the 5-inning limit is far less important. You see a couple guys over there. Nick Wells is there. He's not going to be in the bullpen. If you had a chance to catch our manager's show before today's ball game, it was Stan Clyburn who talked about how Nick Wells will be getting the spot start tomorrow. The question is whether Nick Wells becomes a full-time starter for the Blue Crabs. Wells, for the majority of his career, has been a starter, but more recently, last year at Triple-A, he was a reliever, and this year in the Atlantic League, a reliever as well. Lamson steps off and he'll step back on the mound. From second base, it's Antoine Duplantis over on first base. Joseph Monheim. Pitch, swinging a line drive foul, first base side, over toward the Kids Park in right field. If you have your whole family and want to come out to a Blue Crabs game, it's a perfect option. Go over to the Kids Park. Want to go out and play some basketball in center field, that's also an option. Yesterday, it was Alfredo Reyes who was shooting hoops from the warning track onto the basketball court. This one on the ground, through the hole on the left side for a base hit. Rounding third, it's Duplantis. The throw to the plate's offline, and it skips by the catcher, Haug. And now Monheim takes a long turnaround third base. He pulls up there. This is a 5-4 ball game with runners on second and third after the miscue on the throw home and the run scored by Antoine Duplantis. And all of a sudden, what looked like things were going fine, it's 3 consecutive hits to start the 5th inning. It's a 5-4 game. FerryHawks have 9 hits in this ball game, and to the surprise of me at least, there's still no action in the Blue Crabs bullpen, as no one even really up and stretching. You'd have to think the Blue Crabs are going to go and at least give somebody a move here with 9 hits across the first 4 innings against Mitch Lamson here. First pitch swing, ground ball over toward the bullpen. Count, no balls and 1 strike. The infield is in on the left side. It's back on the right side to the pull hitter Ricardo Cespedes. Count, no balls and 2 strikes. Pitch low and away. So from third base is Monet. At second base, it's a 3-hitter Angel Aguilar who singled through the left side as Ricardo Cespedes steps in. I think the ideal situation, or at least I said the minimum situation for the FerryHawks is hit the ball to the right side, get the run in, and get the other runner to third, and give yourself a chance to score a run with an out. 1-1 pitch. That clips the outside corner. Count 1-2. We had it at 0-2 on our scoreboard in the ballpark. It was 0-1, in fact, at the time. It is now 1-2 on Ricardo Cespedes. 1-2 pitch, low and away. They count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ryan Haug, a strong defensive catcher. He does well to get in front of all those balls in the dirt. And meanwhile, Mitchell Lamson is desperately trying to find a way to get a strikeout here, and he's got strikeout stuff. He's top 3 in the Atlantic League in strikeouts. 2-2 pitch, swinging a pop-up foul, third base side, fought off toward the netting. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes on Cespedes. 2-2 pitch once more. Swinging a line drive into left center field for a base hit. Over the head of Michael Baca. 2-run score. Meanwhile, Cespedes into second base with an RBI double. A 2 RBI double. It's 6-5 FerryHawks. A 3-run 5th inning has put them in front. And all of a sudden, the Blue Crabs, who haven't trailed in the entire ball game, now trail 6-5 in the top of the 5th inning. Well, things have gone sideways for the Blue Crabs in the 5th. Blue Crabs had a 3-0 lead after the first. They led it 5-2 after the second. 5-3 game after the top of the 4th, but here in the top of the 5th inning, 3 runs on 4 hits. First 4 batters have all reached base via hit. First pitch called strike on Dilson Herrera. Single from Duplantis, single from Monhe, a single from, or a double from Angel Aguilar. Or at least he reached second. It was a single, he reached second on the throw. And then a double from Ricardo Cespedes. And it's a 6-5 game in favor of the FerryHawks. So Cespedes is on second base. Meanwhile, Dilson Herrera at the plate, pitch, line drive, shallow right field. Coming in, it's Braxton Lee. He makes the catch. And he manages to hold Ricardo Cespedes at second base. Just 1 away in the top of the 5th. First 4 batters reached with hits for the FerryHawks. It's a 6-5 FerryHawks lead. Based on the hits category, it could be worse. The FerryHawks are out hitting the Blue Crabs 10-6 in the top of the 5th inning. Mitch Lamson, pitch, big swing and a miss, a hefty swing from Mariel Bautista. And the count is no balls and 1 strike. Well, the Blue Crabs made 2 errors in this ballgame. Both have been costly. The error back in the 4th inning and the error in the 2nd inning. First 3 runs that were allowed from Mitch Lamson went down as unearned. 2 runs went down as unearned back in the 2nd inning as a result of an error on Alex Crosby, as the 3rd out would have taken place before both runs had scored. And then in the 4th inning, Mariel Bautista had a single. He managed to reach second, though, and then advanced to third base on a wild pitch, but the reaching second was the key point. He would not have gotten all the way home on the fielder's choice and would have been 3 outs before he could have scored. So all 3 of those runs went down as unearned, as the 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss from Mariel Bautista. And the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cespedes on second base. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Mariel Bautista. Mitchell Lamson gets a sign from his catcher, Ryan Haug. Lamson the pitch. Swinging a line drive, foul back behind home plate. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Blue Crabs have taken a bit of a hit to their rotation as Mackenzie Mills, who had all of a sudden become the team's ace of their staff, is in Mexico now. Signed with the team down in Cancun, the Quintuna Rey. Blue Crabs also signing Mike Falsetti. Pitch, a little bit inside, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mike Falsetti has become the Blue Crabs' bullpen catcher for the most part, but we might see him get a couple starts here and there as well. It's a good opportunity for the Blue Crabs, what Stan Clyburn was saying earlier today. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. They don't have to have a pitcher go out there and catch some bullpens. Don't have to worry about someone like Bradley Roney or Mitchell Lamson or Eddie Butler going out there and catching a bullpen and breaking a finger and then taking him out of the starting rotation, doing something that he is not supposed to be doing in theory, and catching a bullpen. 2 away in the top of the 5th inning. Blue Crabs going with Nick Wells for the start tomorrow as the first pitch is away and the count 1 ball and no strikes. Meanwhile, the double dip for the Blue Crabs today is Butler following Lamson. So Mitchell Lamson, 4 2/3 innings so far. He's allowed 6 runs, only 3 earned, but 10 hits. And the Blue Crabs are behind 6-5. Had to find a way to get some offense in the final 3 innings. Pitch, swinging a line drive, shallow center field, long run, and Sundberg's not going to get there. Throw to the plate is not in time. Meanwhile, runner goes into second base. It's an RBI single from Justin O'Connor as he drives in the runner from second base, Ricardo Cespedes. It's now a 7-5 game. 7 runs on 11 hits here in the top of the 5th inning. And well, now Darryl Thompson comes out to have a chat. Well, manager Stan Clyburn has allowed Mitch Lamson to go pretty deep in this ball game without anybody going up in the bullpen. And now the Blue Crabs, who came into this inning ahead 5-3, looking like they were in business. You have, even if you run into trouble, you think maybe you go to the bullpen and they can get the job done in the 5th, 6th, and 7th. Well, has not been the case. Blue Crabs have allowed Mitch Lamson to stay out there on the mound, and, well, things have gone awry here in the 5th. A 4 spot for Staten Island, and now Patrick Baker is tossing the ball in his hand, and it's the first pitcher the Blue Crabs are going to get up and throwing. Well, looks like the Blue Crabs were undoubtedly going to go with Lamson to 5 no matter what happens. That's something the double hook designated hitter has tried to encourage, but in a start like this, maybe it's a time when the Blue Crabs go away from that message and maybe you go and you make a pitching change in the 5th inning despite the fact you might lose your DH. First pitch called strike on the outer edge from Mitch Lamson. FerryHawks have scored 4 in the 5th. The Blue Crabs fighting from behind. Lamson, 0-1 pitch. That's low. Count 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Top of the 5th inning, 4 runs in for the FerryHawks.
It will turn night here on the SI FerryHawks Baseball Network. Game 2 of the Twin Bills going to start 25-30 minutes at the conclusion of Game 1. But the way this Game 1 is going,
Mitchell Lamson is set. 1-1 delivery, ground ball foul, third base side, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. It was Matt Latos who got a glove on that ball. 7-5 FerryHawks, 4 runs in the 5th inning. Each of the first 4 batters, Duplantis, Monhe, Aguilar, and Cespedes, all scored runs today in the 5th. First 3 reached on singles. It was a 2 RBI double from Ricardo Cespedes. And another RBI single from Justin O'Connor as the 1-2 pitch, a check swing, the motion down to first base, but he didn't go around.
have to imagine it'll still be Matt Salter for the bottom half of the 5th inning. 70 pitches to first, Medusa's wild on the right field scoreboard at 2-2.
Pitch, big swing and a miss. Strike 3, Javier Betancourt goes down on strikes. And that ends the top of the 5th inning, but not before Staten Island puts up a 5 spot in the 5th, or 4 spot in the 5th. They lead this one by 2. It's 7-5 FerryHawks.
Darryl Thompson, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Whether it's Chris Paul, Cliff Paul, Aaron Rodgers, or even the son of a former Blue Crab, Patrick Mahomes, you've seen many athletes endorsing State Farm. That's because your State Farm agent has your back through good times and not so good times. That's why all the Blue Crabs, Darryl Thompson and the whole team, trust State Farm with their insurance needs. State Farm is the company people have trusted for over 99 years to help life go right. Call your local State Farm agent, Greg Conklin, today at 240-776-4289.
Well, we are back in the bottom of the fifth inning. First pitch called strike on Jared Walker. Count no balls and one strike. Pitch, breaking ball, swing and a miss, and the count 0-2. No balls, two strikes, nobody out. Bottom five. Blue Crabs now trail by 2. It's 7-5. The FerryHawks lead. Blue Crabs sent 3, 4, and 5 to the plate here in the inning. Pitch low, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Jared Walker, who has 13 home runs on the year. This is the most dangerous part of the Blue Crabs lineup. 1-1 delivery, foul back behind home plate. And the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes on Jared Walker. Meanwhile, David Harris on deck. He's 2 for 2. He has 3 RBIs in the ball game. 3 hit games, not all that rare for David Harris, it turns out. He was 3 for 3 on Friday, was 3 for 4 on Sunday. 1-2 pitch, fastball just a little bit upstairs. And the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch from Solter, low and in, and the count 3 balls and 2 strikes. Walker taps home plate twice. 3-2 pitch. Line drive foul behind home plate, and the count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. Well, Justin O'Connor is not traditionally a catcher, but it's extremely true. I've heard others say this, that he's played really well so far in this game as well. He's blocked everything that's come his way. Blue Crabs are throwing with Patrick Baker up. Pitch, line drive, hard hit, third base side. Deflects off the side of the stands as it tailed into them. And then deflects into the field of play. Matt Latos out there to play cutoff man. Count 3 balls and 2 strikes on Walker. Solter. He's walked 3 batters already, at risk of walking his 4th pitch. Swing and a miss. He doesn't walk him. He strikes out. Jared Walker pitches in the dirt. O'Connor gets around him, fires to first base on the drop third strike. And there is one away in the bottom of the fifth inning. Here comes David Harris. Harris 2 for 2 in today's ball game. A pair of singles along with 3 RBIs. Harris had a terrific series against York. And he has been extremely effective thus far against Staten Island this homestand. He's 8 for 12. Pitch upstairs. And O'Connor had trouble with it. It goes all the way to the backstop, and the count 1-0. That will be David Harris, followed by Alex Crosby. If necessary, Braxton Lee to follow. 1-0 pitch in there for a called strike on the inner half, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. With regard to the Blue Crabs bullpen today, I think a couple things are worth mentioning. 1-1 delivery. It's away, count 2 balls and 1 strike. The first thing I think that's worth mentioning is that the Blue Crabs haven't played a game in 2 days, so there has been some significant rest. Monday off and Tuesday off, so it's really been almost 72 hours as the 2-1 pitch is chopped foul. Count 2 balls and 2 strikes. So I wouldn't be totally stunned to see a pitcher go in game 1 and game 2. If it's Briseño possibly needed in a closing situation or in a setup situation to try to keep these games in play. It's Baker who's throwing now. I'd imagine it's an all hands on deck situation though. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Well, Matt Solter fell behind in the count 3-2 on Jared Walker, managed to strike him out on a breaking ball. Faced off against the top hitter on the Blue Crabs right now, and David Harris, who's hitting north of 360, and he earns a strikeout there as well. Well, Blue Crabs looking to keep the inning alive in the bottom of the 5th, 7-5. FerryHawks lead the Blue Crabs. Pitch, swinging a ground ball, deflected off of his foot. Was in fair territory. That ball continued to roll through the infield grass, but a foul ball still. Count no balls and 1 strike in the bottom of the 5th. 7-5, the FerryHawks lead the Blue Crabs. Crosby will dig in from the left side. Infield back straight away. 7 runs on 11 hits for the FerryHawks. 5 runs on 6 hits for the Blue Crabs. Pitch, ground ball, hard hit. Nicely backhanded by Herrera. He'll step on the bag himself in time for the final out. Well, Matt Solter ran into trouble early. He allowed 5 runs across the first inning in 2/3, but since he's kept the Blue Crabs at bay, it's 7-5 FerryHawks as we go to the top of the 6th.
Blue Crabs at bay.
This is Daryl Thompson, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Chick-fil-A of Charles County has been a proud supporter of the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs since their inception in 2008. For years, they have sponsored the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, America's prisoners of war and missing in action. In between the second inning of each game, there is a moment of silence brought to you by Chick-fil-A. The Southern Maryland Blue Crabs appreciate and respect not only Chick-fil-A, but all of those that have served our great country. The seat that they sponsor was made possible by Chick-fil-A of Charles County. Thank you so much, and visit any of your Charles County Chick-fil-A locations today.
This is Coach Doug's, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
New pitcher on the mound for the Southern Maryland. A new pitcher on the mound for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. In the top of the 6th inning, it is Patrick Baker. First pitch, breaking ball, called strike on Alfredo Reyes. Well, Patrick Baker can throw as hard as 100 miles an hour. He's turned the velocity down a little bit this year in favor of a little more control. He's now 94 to 96. He'll touch 97, 98 on occasion. Breaking ball a little bit low yet again in the count. 1 ball and 1 strike now. 7-5 FerryHawks. 2 in the second for Staten Island, 1 in the fourth, and 4 in the fifth. It's the first time they've led all game after that 4 spot they put up in the 5th inning. Blue Crabs led 3-0 after the first. They led 5-2 after the second. And the fastball comes inside in the count. 2 balls and 1 strike on Alfredo Reyes. He has a 1.03 ERA. He's had a terrific season, the right-hander. 2-1 pitch, way inside. It nearly hit Alfredo Reyes. And the count, 3 balls and 1 strike. Well, typically, in past years, Patrick Baker's had a couple of issues with his control. Walked a lot of batters. Has not been the case as much this season. It's been significantly better. As he has a 1.03 ERA, but it doesn't stop there. Patrick Baker has a 0.99 whip. Across 26 and a third innings, he's walked 15, but allowed just 11 hits. Again, 15 walks is not a perfect situation. You'd like to walk fewer than that, but with the velocity that he throws at it, you're going to end up having a few control problems here and there. Baker, 3-1 pitch, swinging a ground ball, not all that hard, hit over to third. Fielded the backhand by Crosby. Strong throw, but a high throw. DeLuca manages to keep the foot on the bag, and it's in time, and there's 1 away. It's not been the day that Alex Crosby was looking for in the field over at third base. He's run into a number of balls that have taken awkward hops off of the infield dirt. That time managed to corral it, but the throw was high. 1 away. Top of the 6th inning for Antoine Duplantis. Baker, first pitch, ground ball towards short, bad hop, fielded by Baca though, throw to first, he got him. Oh, what a play. Baca had a range up the middle, throw across his body for the out, and there are 2 away in the top of the 6th inning. 7-5, the FerryHawks lead the Blue Crabs, but Patrick Baker, 2 batters, 2 outs in the top of the 6th, as it's Joseph Monhe who will come to the plate. Have to wonder who might be coming out for the 7th inning. Blue Crabs going through an interesting situation with their closer. Matt Latos has been the closer all year. He's been the closer for the last 2 years. But it's been Andres Briseño who has the top-level ERA, 0.82. And you can't really argue with that, and he's come up to the task for every time he's been asked to come in and save a ball game. Or I should clarify, 0.82 whip for Andres Briseño and a 0.88 ERA. He's 4-0 this year. Pitch to Monhe. It's in the dirt. Check swing. Did he go? They motioned down to first base, and decision is no, he did not. Count 2 balls and no strikes. Umpires today, Jim Clayton behind the plate, Scott Hart at first, Bill Worthington at third base. That is Bill the Skill Worthington. Count 2 balls and no strikes from Eddie Butler or beg your pardon, from Patrick Baker. Eddie Butler will start game 2. 2-0 delivery, hard fastball upstairs, count 3 balls and no strikes. Not the first time he's fallen behind the count. He was down 3-0 on Alfredo Reyes, who led off the inning. 3-0, a little bit inside, it's ball 4. The 4 pitches were rather close, but they were all balls, and it's a 2-out walk issued from Patrick Baker. Well, Blue Crabs will play 2 today. Game 2 will start 30 minutes after the conclusion of Game 1. Well, it is currently 7:02, and if you do some math, you find it probably going to end around 7:30, maybe 7:40. And you start Game 2 around 8:15. If things go the way that they're planned to go. First pitch called strike. Sizzles past Angel Aguilar on the count. No balls and 1 strike. Breaking ball. This one low in the dirt in the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. Runner on second base with 2 outs. Infield playing back on Angel Aguilar. Michael Baca all the way on the outfield grass in shallow left field. Aguilar 10 home runs. He also has a .307 average to show for. Pitch, ground ball slowly back to the mound. Baker's got it. He takes his sweet time, fires to first base. It's in time for the final out. Well, Patrick Baker works around a 2-out walk. It's a 7-5 Blue Crabs lead as we go to the bottom. 7-5 FerryHawks lead, I should say, as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning.
This is Joe DeLuca, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
We are back in the bottom of the 6th inning. First pitch is a little bit away for ball 1 on Braxton Lee. Blue Crabs trailing 7-5 as the Blue Crabs will send 6, 7, and 8 to the plate. Lee, DeLuca, and Haug. Pitch called strike in the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. So 6, 7, and 8 will be, again, Lee, DeLuca, and Haug, which would be in the 7th inning if the Blue Crabs can't get a hit here. This one swinging a line drive, hard hit, third base side foul. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes. So back to that last point, as I was mentioning, if the Blue Crabs can't get a hit here, it would send 9, 1, and 2 to the plate, which for now is Baca, followed by Sundberg and Shaw. And just by batting average, the 3 of them don't have the best batting averages on the team. 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Looks like it might be a foul tip. Instead, it's a strikeout. And although O'Connor couldn't hold on to it, it's enough to be strike 3. And there's one away in the 6th. Brings up Joe DeLuca. Matt Salter's thrown his 90th pitch of the day. 49 strikes on 90 pitches. He's allowed 5 runs on 6 hits. 5 of those hits and all 5 runs came in the first 2 innings. Since then, he's been terrific. A check swing on Joe DeLuca as the pitch was a little bit low and away. The count 1 ball and no strikes. A dominant performance from Matt Salter after a very slow start today. Salter the pitch. Called strike, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. We apologize for some technical difficulties you're working through earlier in the ball game with regard to some of our cameras. We're going to still try to make sure we have that all set up for you in game 2 as well. 1-1 pitch, a big swing and a miss. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes. One ball, 2 strikes. 1-2 pitch up and away. The count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two balls, 2 strikes, nobody on. Pitch swinging a foul ball off of his front foot. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. 7-5 lead for the FerryHawks. Blue Crabs, 5 runs on 6 hits, but they've been very quiet recently. The 2 errors for the Blue Crabs have also been costly. They have cost them 3 unearned runs today's ball game. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Well, Joe DeLuca goes down on strikes. There are 2 away in the bottom of the 6th inning for Ryan Haug. Well, the strikeouts have come aplenty, especially more recently for Salter. 4 strikeouts in the last 2 innings. Haug 0 for 2. He's hitting .270 on the year. Blue Crabs 6 hits to spread amongst the bunch. First pitch, swinging a high fly ball, right field. The right fielder Monhay runs over and he tracks it down for the final out. Another 1-2-3 inning from Matt Salter. The Blue Crabs trail by 2. We go to the top of the 7th. Eddie Baker back on the mound, or I beg your pardon, Patrick Baker back on the mound for the 7th. Eddie Butler will be back on the mound, not till game 2 though, so stick with us on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Darryl Thompson, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Whether it's Chris Paul, Cliff Paul, Aaron Rodgers, or even the son of a former Blue Crab, Patrick Mahomes, you've seen many athletes endorsing State Farm. That's because your State Farm agent has your back through good times and not so good times. That's why all the Blue Crabs, Darryl Thompson, and the whole team trust State Farm with their insurance needs. State Farm is the company people have trusted for over 99 years to help life go right. Call your local State Farm agent, Greg Conklin, today at 240-776-4289.
Well, first pitch here swinging. It's ground ball over to second base. Shah's got it. He tosses to first. And there's one away as Raul Shah fields and fires. And Ricardo Cespedes is down on the first pitch. Dilson Herrera will come to the plate. He'll be followed by Merrill Bautista here in the top of the 7th inning. For Patrick Baker, and I got the name right this time. He's faced 5 batters. He's retired 4 of them. He's thrown just 14 pitches, and for that matter, just 6 strikes. First pitch to Dilson Herrera, former big leaguer, is a called strike on a breaking ball. On the count, no balls and 1 strike. Baker a 0.98 ERA on the season. 0-1. A little bit inside. Count 1 ball and 1 strike on Dilson Herrera, who's hitting 195 on the year. One pitch, popped up foul overhead. And they count 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Herrera 0 for 3 in today's ball game, and he got off to a very slow start. He's played parts of 4 seasons in Major League Baseball, played with the Mets in 2014 and 2015. Cincinnati in parts for 2018, parts of 53 games, in fact. And the 1-2 pitch is low, count 2-2. And then in 2020, he played with the Baltimore Orioles. Had just 5 at-bats with the Orioles, 0 for 5. He is the ice cream man, so if he strikes out, the section screaming loud enough will get a coupon to Landon's Ices and Creams. 2-2 pitch, try to get him, he wouldn't bite. Count goes to 3-2 on the righty. It's been a slightly better month for Dilson Herrera after a very slow start to the season when the Blue Crabs visited Staten Island the first time around. In Game 1, he came in with a 109 batting average. Pitch, swinging a high fly ball, left center field, rather deep, but definitely playable as it's Walker who shifts in front of the warning track and makes the catch for the second out. We'll give you the rundown on the numbers for the Blue Crabs starter Mitchell Amson today. 5 innings of work. He allowed 11 hits, 7 runs. They're charging with 6 earned, although I'm not entirely sure that should be the case. Thought it might have been 4 earned, but either way, he's charged with 6 earned for now, and Baker inning in 2/3. He hasn't struck anyone out yet. He's walked 1 and allowed no hits or runs. First pitch to Dilson Herrera. I beg your pardon, Mario Bautista is up and in the count. 1 ball and no strikes. A 1-0 pitch, popped it up over to second base. Raul Shah's under it, he makes the catch. And that ends the top of the 7th inning. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Blue Crabs trail by 2. It's Patrick Baker who goes 1-2-3 in the top of the 7th. Stick with us as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Blue Crabs try to get back in it. position they can win.
Leading off for your Blue Crabs, the shortstop, number 3, Michael.
That's right. Bottom of the 7th inning, the Blue Crabs send 9-1 and 2 to the plate. They trail by 2 runs. It might only be the bottom of the 7th, but think of it as the bottom of the 9th inning, as this is a 7-inning ball game. As the Blue Crabs are playing game 1 of a doubleheader today. The second game will start 30 minutes after the conclusion of game 1. Pitch up and away in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Oh, Michael Baca spins his bat in a circular motion. Blue Crabs face off against Victor Capayan. Pitch up and in, count 2 balls and no strikes. Well, Capayan is playing incredibly well recently. 15 consecutive appearances without an earned run. 17 innings, 17 strikeouts. He has walked 6 in that time period. This is his 9th consecutive season in independent ball. Played in Mexico for some time. Also spent last season with York. 2-0 delivery. Called strike on the outside corner, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike on Michael Baca. Jack Sundberg on deck. Sundberg is 1 for 1. He's walked twice. He's scored 2 runs. Meanwhile, Shaw 1 for 2. The best numbers in this Blue Crabs batting order, they're 4 through 6. 2-1 pitch, fastball. That one clips the outer edge, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Michael Baca 0 for 2 today. He's getting his 3rd at bat here in the bottom of the 7th inning. It's one of those weird scenarios with these 7-inning doubleheaders that a batter could realistically not get that 3rd plate appearance. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pitch, line drive, first base side. It's going to find the seats. And the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. A Wednesday night in Waldorf, Maryland. I'm glad you decided to join us for this broadcast. We'll have a trivia question and much more in game 2, so make sure to stick with us. That will be a new stream. We're going to end this stream and start the new stream for game 2. So stick with us for game 2 of the doubleheader. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Swinging a line drive yet again toward the concourse on the first base side. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. 7:23 the time. I think realistically, unless this game makes its way into extra innings, you could think this game will be over by around 7:30, 7:40 at the latest. In which case, game 2 would start 8:10, 8:15 or so. As a broadcaster, I've got quite a bit of work to do as well. Not only do you have to set up the new stream, but we also have to get lineup cards out and to coaches and much, much more. Pitch, line drive, hard hit, left field line, base hit at extra bases for Michael Baca. He rounds first and applies the brakes at second. It's a leadoff double for Michael Baca. Blue Crabs have something sizzling in the 7th. And it's Jack Sundberg, who's 1 for 1. He's reached base all 3 times. He represents the tying run. On deck, it's Zach Collier who comes to the plate. As Raul Shaw, he got the start in the 2 spot, went 1 for 2. He was also hit by a pitch, but he will not get his 4th plate appearance, as it's Zach Collier on deck. He represents the winning run for the Blue Crabs. I think for Southern Maryland, the whole idea has to be get it to David Harris. If you can get it that far, you put yourself in a terrific spot. First pitch is inside, And the count 1 ball and no strikes. At that point, if you've gotten to David Harris, Harris would have to represent the winning run because you'd have to have one more guy get on for you to get to David Harris, because if Sundberg were to reach and then Collier and Walker were to get out, that would be 2 on with 2 out, and that would allow David Harris to come to the plate. So the Blue Crabs are looking to get to him. He's 8 for his last 13 at the plate on the homestand. Parrott with 6 RBIs, 2 for 3 today with 3 RBIs. Drove in 2 in the first, or I beg your pardon, drove in 1 in the first and 2 in the second. Blue Crabs 5, FerryHawks 7. 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss from Sundberg in the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Sundberg hitting .234 on the year. Will be followed by Zach Collier, who's hitting .265. Pitch, swinging a line drive, left center field. It's the left fielder, though, who comes in and makes the catch. That's Antoine Duplantis, who tracked it down into left center. Looked like for a moment that ball might find some green grass, but Duplantis covers the ground and makes the catch for the first out. Brings up Zach Collier. Collier to the plate. 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. Andres Briseño is up and throwing should we need to go to the 8th. So Collier in for Shaw. Righty-lefty matchup. Blue Crabs looking to end the streak of 17 consecutive innings when Capian has not allowed a run. First pitch to Zach Collier, called strike. And the count, no balls and 1 strike. It was Michael Bach who got a hold of a pitch out over the middle of the plate. He drove it down that third base line for a base hit. As oh, 1 pitch, big wave and a miss, and the count, no balls and 2 strikes. One out, count, no balls and 2 strikes. Runner on second base. The Blue Crabs trail by 2 in the bottom of the 7th. Pitch up and away. Count, 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Briseño throwing from full distance now to Mike Falsetti, the Blue Crabs bullpen catcher who is signed on an official contract. And you might see him get some starts here and there. Blue Crabs will still probably be mixing in Joe DeLuca from time to time, but he's used mostly as a first baseman. 1-2 delivery came way inside, nearly hit Collier. Surprised that he didn't at least give a bit of a comment, then at least he may have gotten to first base, but did not comment to home plate umpire Jim Clayton. It's awfully close. It might have skimmed his pants. And his dog day at the park might have heard some barking in the background. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Bottom 7. 2-2 pitch. Swinging a foul ball to the backstop behind home plate, and the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Capian from the belt, pitch, swinging a line drive, hard hit to right, but it's right at Joseph Monhe for a loud second out. Well, he got a good piece of hitting on that ball, but it went right to Joseph Money. Well, Jared Walker comes to the plate.
So the tension continues to mount here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. This is it. Game 1 of a doubleheader. Once we're tied after 7, game concludes here. Walker top 5 in Atlantic League home runs. He has 13 for the season and 14 from tied the game.
First pitch to Jared Walker. Strike at the bell and the count, no balls and 1 strike. Well, Capayan ran himself into trouble early. A leadoff double from Michael Baca down the third baseline. And after the leadoff double from Baca, couple of outs, couple of loud outs at that, as the 0-1 pitch is low, count 1-1. Sundberg went down on a line out to left center, and then a very hard hit fly ball to right from Zach Collier. Meanwhile, the Blue Crabs still have the tying run at the plate. If Walker can go deep, the Blue Crabs would tie the game, and David Harris would be the go-ahead run. 1-1 pitch upcoming to Jared Walker. Low and in, count 2 balls and 1 strike.
If and when this game does conclude, we'll have an abbreviated FerryHawks post-game show. As we get to work in the 20-plus minutes provided to us in between contests, we'll hook you up with the Game 2 YouTube stream. Now a 2-1 pitch is down.
Well, Baca leads off of second base. Here's the pitch. A little bit away. Count 3 balls and 2 strikes. Or 3 balls and 1 strike, I should say. 3-1. If Walker reaches, that would mean the tying run is on base and the winning run is at the plate. And you don't want to face David Harris with 2 outs in the 7th inning with the tying run on base and him representing the go-ahead run. 3-1 pitch, a swing and a miss. Pitch was low, probably out of the zone. Either way, the count is now 3 balls and 2 strikes. Well, just to give you an idea of how hard Zach Collier hit that ball, it was the 2nd hardest exit velocity off the bat of any Blue Crabs player, any player in this ball game, I should say, all day. Only one that was hit harder was Joe DeLuca's deep fly out to right that nearly got out of the ballpark. 3-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Victor Capayan allows a leadoff double, but he retires the Blue Crabs in order from there. A line out to left center, a hard fly out to right, and a strikeout to Jared Walker to end the 7th inning. The Blue Crabs went up early. They led nearly the entire way until a 4-run 5th inning spurred the FerryHawks en route to a 7-5 7-inning victory. Well, we're going to go through the scoring plays briefly, go through the pitchers today for the Blue Crabs and some of the better bats in this ball game. So starting with the scoring plays for Southern Maryland, it was David Harris who got the scoring started. An RBI single that brought in Jack Sundberg. Later in the first, it was Braxton Lee who grounded into a force out that allowed Jared Walker to score, and Joe DeLuca drove in David Harris on a ground ball up the middle. That gave the Blue Crabs a 3-0 lead. It was 3-2 in the bottom of the second when David Harris roped a base hit to right center field. It scored Jack Sundberg and Raul Shah and gave the Blue Crabs a 5-2 lead. It was the last they led in the top of the 5th inning. The Staten Island FerryHawks bats got to him with runners on 2nd and 3rd and still nobody out. It was Ricardo Cespedes who doubled. That brought home Joseph Monhe and Angel Aguilar. O'Connor later drove in Ricardo Cespedes to give Staten Island that 7-5 lead. Blue Crabs pitchers today, it was Lamson who went 5 innings, 11 hits, 7 runs. For now, it's 6 earned. He did not walk anybody. He struck out 4. Patrick Baker, 2 innings. He walked 1, did not allow a run, and he also struck nobody out. Well, We'll give you some of the bigger bats for the Blue Crabs as well. Jack Sundberg couldn't come up big in the 7th. He was 1 for 2 today. He scored 2 runs. He also walked twice. Raul Shaw did not come to the plate in the 7th. They went to Collier instead, who hit the ball awfully hard. But Raul Shaw was 1 for 2 today. He scored a run. Jared Walker 0 for 4. He also came around and scored a run after he reached via a fielder's choice. 2 for 3 for Harris in this one. He drove in 3. He scored 1. Lee 1 for 3 with an RBI. DeLuca 1 for 3 with an RBI. And Michael Baca 1 for 3 in today's ball game. Blue Crabs lose game 1, 7-5. Game 2 will start in approximately 30 minutes, around 8:05, maybe 8:10. We're going to start the new YouTube stream as soon as we have word of when Game 2 will begin. All right, everybody, don't go too far. Again, join us for Game 2 of this doubleheader between the Blue Crabs and the FerryHawks. We sign off, as always, with Let's Go Blue Crabs.